or a technology company really didn't think about regulations. And that's kind of one of those passions I have. A lot of companies, startups especially, don't think about regulations. So when the question is, how do we engage with the corporate? It's a little more complicated now than it was, say, 10, 15 years ago. And that's because what's hot in the Valley right now, what's hot in the rest of the world. We're talking about fintech, insurtech, regtech, blockchain. We're talking about data privacy. All these things that we talk about, either when I talk to large companies or startups, those are things that it's just human nature not to think about it every day.
Okay.
Right? So large companies have lots of people who their only job is to address data privacy or address cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
But you're a startup, you're a limited team. So the first question I would have in how you engage with a corporation today is, what is your product? What niche does it fill? And does it have any laws, regulations, compliance things that those customers, those corporations are going to have to worry about? And I think that's the biggest gating factor today in how startups get into a corporation.
That's a good point, because I don't think I've ever sat down with a startup while I've talked with them and they've said about the compliance or the legal part of their product. Normally they release it, then find out later about it.
Yeah, let's zero in, because it's always a fun topic. Cryptocurrency or blockchain companies.
Great.
So I've been in the space about 2 years, but I've never been involved with an ICO or a crypto. I really love blockchain as a technology.
Okay.
A lot of the companies that got into it, ICO, initial coin offering, you found out a couple years later that they were...
A couple months later, God.
Yeah, well, some had a head start, but it's almost selling unlicensed securities, which is a big no-no with up to 7 different regulatory bodies. So I was trained as a banker. So these were things like the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Commodities Futures Trading, FINRA, FinCEN, IRS, all these things that could impact you. So about a year ago, I asked a question on LinkedIn that got lots of hits was, has any ICO or crypto company that any of my lawyer friends have ever worked with, did they ever hire a chief compliance officer? And universally, out of however many people responded, all of them said no. We've never heard of a cryptocurrency or a blockchain technology company for an ICO. Did they want to hire a chief risk or chief
compliance? Did they want to hire? Oh, God.
Or did they? Yeah. But now a year later, they're popping up. I get calls all the time for people asking me if I can recommend somebody who would be a chief compliance officer. And then the question goes, well, if you're a chief compliance officer, if you're an executive, a compliance executive at a bank, are you really going to then join a startup?
Yeah.
And if you're going to join a startup, will you join a blockchain startup?
God, there's just red flags.